Before printing existed, access to information was a privilege only those with sufficient resources could afford. The bulk of the population was deprived of knowledge, having to rely on few to instruct them. Information was a currency few possessed. This, however, was about to change. The oldest known book that was printed dates back to 868 AD in China during the Tang dynasty. It was done with carved blocks of wood printed in reverse. Another form of printing, this time with clay blocks, was invented by Bi Sheng between 970 and 1051 AD. In 1297 AD, woodblock printing came back. However, it was improved by Wang Sheng, who devised a process to make the wood more durable and precise. He then created a revolving table for typed letters to organize with more efficiency. It was with this system that the first mass-produced book, a treatise in agriculture and farming practices called Nung Shu, was made. It would take another 150 years for the press printing to get to Europe when Johannes Gutenberg completed the Gutenberg press. The main difference was replacing wood blocks with metal ones that printed each letter and could be a movable type. This process would stay similar until the invention of the rotary press in the 19th century, mainly used by newspaper companies. Finally, in the 20th century, this process was replaced by the use of more digital printers due to the cost effectiveness and being less time consuming. The most common type of electronic printers is the inkjet. As time passed, printers became a more accessible commodity, turning into a household item with many features such as scanning and even wireless printing. But how does an inkjet printer actually work? The inkjet printer works with two cartridges of ink, one of black and the other with cyan, yellow, and magenta, CMYK. These cartridges are placed in a carriage that holds the printer head, the part of the mechanism that holds the cartridges and sprays the ink onto the paper. And the carriage moves the print head in a straight line in order to spray the ink in the correct place, slowly creating the image. As the ink is placed and rolled into the paper, the printed image is rolled out of the printer into the paper tray in the front bottom side. With such an efficient design that turned printers into a household item, one wonders, why are there so many different types of printers? First, there are impact and non-impact printers. Impact printers utilize hammers, pins, or wheels in order to impact a point within an ink ribbon to print it through pressure in the paper. Non-impact printers use a different system to place ink, such as spray, laser, or a heat combined with pressure. Impact printers were commonly used in typewriters. They required a lower cost, but were less precise, causing more dents and tears in the paper, and were unable to print more than one color at the same time. But the printer in question is not an impact printer. There is a big variety of printers in the market, all with different sizes and techniques used in the process of printing, and all with different types of results. The printer that is used and the price it can go for will have a direct result in the quality of the print. Not all printers need to be 25,000 euro machines with hundreds of different settings depending on the grain of the paper and its pigment. In some cases, such as the need of a household, a simple inkjet can suffice. In other cases, like a school, more complex machines can be used. Even in the case of more artistic prints, complex machines such as a Riso printer can be used, which also are very useful due to the low cost they have for reprinting multiple copies of a single document. All the printers in the market cover the different needs the public has, and even if there is definitely an overproduction of models, they all have a purpose. But then in the midst of all these technological marvels and such high quality types of printers, what happened to the art of press printing? As digital printers became more popular, the use of press printing was reduced drastically. However, it remains as a legitimate form of printing, used mainly as a form of art and a learning technique in some schools, since it requires patience and is helpful when learning how to utilize space, for one can always visualize what they are printing and where, whereas with digital printing, you cannot really see the end result so easily. There have also been other ways of printing in different materials all throughout time, such as etching for metals, as well as lithography, a process that utilizes mainly a flat rock for printing into paper through pressure as well. Now we also have 3D printing, a form that utilizes filaments of plastic and heat in order to print a 3D object, and that seems to evolve into a more accessible and versatile practice as time goes on. So what's the story behind this particular printer? This printer belongs to a series made by the brand HP called the All-in-One. These are printers that both have a printer and a scanner. This model was first released in August of 2011 with wireless printing features. And yet it ended up being purchased 12 years later for €2.50. Why did this happen? In spite of working perfectly, this printer ended up becoming quickly outdated due to the constant stream of similar products released by HP and its competitors. This printer's fate is simply the consequence of the overproduction of similar models due to the mass consumerism that has taken over our society.